Hi guys, I want to welcome you to Garden Gnomes etc. This is a little bit out of the garden gnome type thing, but this has to do with deer control. Here we've had tons of problems with deer. Sometimes I get 30, 40, 50 deer that go through my yard. I like to collect a lot of different plants, one of them being the hosta, others being daylilies, so forth. I kind of have been doing this for about 40 years, had quite a collection. So I've been fighting these things forever. I've tried taking my kids' dirty diapers, and that was a great way of really keeping a deer out of my yard. I'd take their dirty diaper, take some of my socks with holes in them. And this is one good thing with being a guy. You may not be able to hit a toilet from standing up, but I used to take gallon jugs, point in there, and sometimes the best things are free. So I'd have a big bottle of urine, and it would get stale. You put it in a bucket, and I would soak these dirty diapers along with them being in a sock. And of course I had twine to where I didn't have to touch any of this, and every one of these things I'd have 20 or 30 dirty diapers hanging in every single tree in my yard. So with that, and yeah, it made it to where we couldn't have windows open during the summer, because it did have, and everybody knew that, yeah, there's the Bowers house, they're keeping the deer out. It worked real well until the kids kind of grew up and the dirty diapers disappeared. And unfortunately I'm at the age where I haven't gotten into the depends area where I can supply my own, but I've tried different things like the two-dimensional coyotes with the green box. You get all these on the internet. There was a green box that had a radio and a light hooked up, and I'd mount it to where it would be shining on the coyote at night. One night at 2 o'clock I heard the thing go off. I looked, and here was a deer right next to my coyote eating my plants. So everything got shipped back. Nothing worked very well. I tried buying coyote, or I think it was fox and coyote urine, which was into a pulverized sand, where granulated sand, where you can go ahead and put it every 10 feet. You put a pile, and it was supposed to keep stuff away. But the only thing I did do is bring in a red fox, and I wondered why my my hostas were being dug up. Well, this was from the fox trying to dig, looking for something. Whenever you put urine out, they kind of like to look for it. So we're going to go through my hosta system, or my deer system that I developed, and it's pretty unique. So we're going to get going. Up here is a sensor, a motion detector that I kind of hung up here. You can see it. This here, actually it doesn't scan, but it takes this whole entire area here where you can see it goes down, and you can see around the pond. So anything coming up there deer wise, it sets this off. And over here is a light. All my lights blink, and I don't truthfully think the lights mean too much anymore. Up here, I don't know if it might be hard to see, but up there is a deck speaker. So I got that mounted up, and up here you can see a, kind of hard to talk with the sounds, but up there is my air hose. I have this all set up to where this system has air, water shooting all over. Over here, of course, is my air, or my water nozzle that can shoot across. I've already taken down some of the stuff, but here again there's blinking lights going on and off. Underneath my deck is where I have, this is my water solenoid with the valve, hose. Over here, is my air manifold, so I can control the air, whether it goes into the trees or on the deck. But there's 5 different locations, and I kind of did away with that because my air compressor wasn't big enough. So moving along, and of course this is already fall. I'm taking this system down, but here is my rock speaker here. So I have this moved out right with the deer, so when they're in there, a lot of the bass kind of moves the ground a little. I'll tell you what, these deer fly. They don't stick around very often. And of course here is my remote, so 3 o'clock in the morning, if things are getting out of hand and I'm getting tired of hearing the bears and all the sirens, I turn it off. Here you can see I had to put everything on a timer just because during the day this thing would go on and off because of the wind. So that's where it's plugged into. Up here on the deck, this is the main part of it. Unfortunately, I had I'll shut this off for now. But what I had is a cheap stereo from Walmart, and the purpose was the on-off switch. It was a cassette deck to where if you pulled the plug, the thing would still work. But then when it went to electronics, every time you pull the plug, which essentially is what you're doing when this goes on and off, you lose your settings. So I had to come up with a car stereo. This is a car stereo. And then on top of it, I had to have 2 transformers powered down where it would convert 120 volts AC to 12 volts DC. And of course, you had to have the different wattages. So one of these is for power on all the time to keep my settings. So once the thing would go off, I wouldn't lose my sounds, because when I first tried this, once the thing shut off, it would go to static from a radio station. Here's the meat, kind of like the main part of it. Anything that I plug into here is controlled by the sensors. So anytime these motion detectors went off, it would power on. So this is where I would have my air solenoid, my lights, water, everything, you name it, it would go off. So here I can take them off, and I can probably do anything I want to put anything that goes electrically, whether it's noise, water, or what have you. Again, during the day when this thing went on and off, I'll turn this back on again. You can see the lights here going off here. And of course we got sensors here, and it goes through my whole entire backyard here. The other one here, I don't know if you can see on this side here on the tree here, you can just barely see the white. That covers this other part of the yard. And of course on the front side of the house is another stereo system with speakers and lights, and you have it from there. Also, with the water, I had to put a switch in there because with this going on and off so often during the day, and I think what happened is when the buses and the trucks went by, it threw kind of a heat sensor of wind, which put it off. So I didn't want to supply the water company with a big bill, so I put this sort of like this switch down here, so you can see it where it shoots across the yard. And I have already taken the pie tin down, and sometimes the cheapest pie tin is the best because it makes a heck of a racket. So I can shut this on and off, and that's basically it. Somebody asked, why can't I sell something like this? Well, the cost is so darn high. I mean, each of the sensors, I think I got 7 in the yard. They're about 25 bucks a piece. This thing here is about another 30 bucks. There's 2 of them, so that's another 60 bucks. Then you got the car stereo. You have the 2 different transformers. I have a box to mount all this stuff, another box for which this is cheap. This here is a pretty expensive box, plus the different solenoids, and also this guy here. This is my best friend at night, because when you get up when this wakes you up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, this whole yard is just blinking, noises, water going all over the place. My one friend said it's almost like Star Wars here. I mean, it's pretty cool, and all I really have to say is maybe you ought to be grateful you're not my neighbor, because it does get pretty incredible here as far as keeping these things. And every time this does go off at night, I can tell you, shut this off. But when this does go off, I get up and I'm looking out the window. The deer are gone, so it does work. There's been times when I see the deer way in the backyard there, and this hasn't gone off. I'll just take the remote, turn it on, and these things fly. So this is one good way of keeping a deer on their path to skip my yard, and so that's about it. And it takes about a couple minutes for them. And the thing with the sounds, I forgot to reiterate, there's over 100 sounds of everything that's really kind of obnoxious in a way. And they go on for maybe a couple seconds, and then it kind of gets quiet, and then the next sound will come, and then it's quiet, and then this here is sort of, they're one after another. It's not supposed to be like that, but yeah, this is pretty cool, pretty incredible, really, at night. I mean, you can see our whole yard flash, and especially the front. I don't have the same setup. I usually have like a heavy rock station on, so you'll hear Led Zeppelin and Ozzy Osbourne all night long if the deer are coming through. So that's it.